Hello and welcome to Will Watches. This is Squid Game episode 2. So last episode we were introduced to our main character, Sung Ji-hun. So he has a bit of a gambling problem. Obviously this whole thing is to do with the money, to get the money, but he has this gambling problem and it's gotten him into like a bit of debt. But really the main reason he's doing this is so that he can keep in contact with his daughter because she's potentially moving to America. So that's the real heart of this, isn't it? His connection with his daughter, him trying to do this for his daughter. Is not really about the money for him, it's about his familial bond with his daughter. I'm really hoping this episode and the next few episodes we get a bit more backstory for some of these other characters, like the old man. I don't think we have a name for him yet. He seems to be really enjoying himself here, which is a bit strange. And then we have number 67, I don't know her name yet, but she obviously has some history with this guy with the snake tattoo. So there's a lot of things they can explore here. And then going into this episode, it seems like now they've got this decision to make. Do they want to carry on playing the game? And it's going to be like a majority vote. But of course, they said they'll reveal how much money is on the line here. So I think maybe that will sway them once they see it's this ridiculous amount of money. Because I know it's quite a large amount, like some ridiculous amount. Maybe once they see how much money is on the line here, they'll realize, okay, yeah, let's go for this. Maybe it is actually worth it. And it'll be interesting to see what game is next as well. So before we jump into this, be sure to check out the Patreon. Over there will be 2 or 3 weeks ahead, so you can get early access to the next episodes. You can also find polls, so you can vote for what's next. And you can find full-length versions where you can just sync up your own footage in case there's anything that I cut out from the YouTube edit that you wanted to see. So yeah, let's just jump right in. Are they cremating all of the bodies? Wow, that must be it, right? Yeah, like how do they explain away all of these deaths as well, you know? They've obviously got the money to do all of this because they've got this big operation. Someone survived. Wow. And someone survived, but because they lost the game, they're still gonna get killed. Wow. Yeah, everyone's got the realization now. 고맙다. Yeah, helped him out. Has he thanked Ali yet as well?
두 사람 덕에 살았어요.
첫 번째 게임의 결과를 알려드리겠습니다.
201.
55명이 탈락하여
선생님, 제가요 애가 있거든요.
Yeah, she can't die.
못지어서 출생신고는 못했는데요.
Oh, she's pregnant, or she just had the kid and hasn't registered her name yet.
게임의 규칙만 잘 지키면 약속된 상금과 함께 무사히 이곳을 나가실 수 있습니다.
상금이고 뭐고 다 필요 없으니까.
They didn't break the rules though. They just lost the game. There's a difference there, right?
여기 실종된 사람들 찾으러 금방 여길 찾아올 걸 아마?
No, they've thought about that, right?
여기로 찾아올 거야. 그럼 당신도 그 짱이라고. 그 짱이야.
And all the guards have guns, yeah, so they could outnumber them, but there's the risk of some of them dying, you know?
참가자 과반수가 동의를 하면 게임은 중단된다.
Yeah, exactly.
여러분의 뜻에 따라 게임의 중단 여부를 투표하겠습니다.
So I wonder why they put this clause, like the game makers, why they put this clause in there. Just to make it interesting or just to like give the contestants some hope? It just keeps going and going.
255억의 상금이
25 billion. It's around 15 million pounds.
얼마를 주시나요?
참가자 456명 따라서 총
The total was 45 billion, so that's even more. So yeah, that's gonna convince them.
여러분 앞을 보시면 2개의 버튼이 있습니다.
Around 30 million pounds, so that's what, like $40 million as well?
번호의 역순으로 하겠습니다. 456번.
Oh, he's the first to vote. And everyone gets to see his vote as well, so it's not like a private vote. So, you know, it can get to 99 people vote to leave, and then they'll see that the majority is probably gonna win anyway, you know? It's not exactly a fair vote when it's not when it's not anonymous. Yeah. It's pretty even. Yeah, it's going to be even. There's 201. It needs to be majority, so it's going to be 100 on each, and then the last person is the one who chooses if the game carries on or not. Is that going to be what it is? And then all the pressure, the crowd shouting at them, telling them what to do. Yeah, he voted to stay. The look on his face.
다들 이 짓을 계속 하자는 거야 지금?
해야지 그럼. 나가면 뭐가 달라? 어차피 나가도 생 지옥이야 이 씨발.
It's hell either way.
여기서 희망이라도 있지. 나가면 아무것도 없어.
Yeah, it depends how desperate some of the people are, you know, what their condition like outside the game.
예, 마지막 투표자입니다. 1번.
It's the old man, it's his choice. Well, the game must carry on, so we know what happens, but are the crowd gonna erupt at him? Well, they might not, because they've been told to let the process happen by the guards.
의사가 그러는데 내 머릿속에 혹이 생겼대. 뇌 종양.
Yeah, he knows he's gonna stay. Oh. Okay. But obviously the games have to continue.
다수가 게임의 재개를 원하시면 언제든 게임을 다시 시작하겠습니다.
And they're just dumping them all out. Okay. So are they all going to be so desperate that they join the game again?
그래, 너부터 빨리 일어나. 그래, 춥지? 아, 나도 춥다.
Is she going to leave him here?
당신 풀어주면 돈 내놓으라고 나한테 뭐라고 할 거잖아.
너 이리 와. 내 돈 내놔.
Yeah, of course.
너 거기 안 서!
Yeah, I wasn't expecting this. So they all had the opportunity to leave.
사장님, 전화 있어요? 전화 한 번만 하고 싶어요.
Out of charge. Oh, the police are after him now.
집이 안산이라면서요. 사발면값도 없는데 집에 갈 돈 있냐고요.
걸어가요.
여기서 안산까지 걸어서?
How far is that? Yeah, even though he's in all this debt, he's still generous.
안 돼요. 나 돈 없어요. 돈 못 갚아요.
갚으라고 안 할 테니까.
How precious he is with it.
경찰관님, 지금 사태의 심각성을 아직 잘 이해 못하시는 것 같은데요.
Oh yeah, of course, they'll go to the police.
그러니까 이상한 사람들이 모르는 사람들 수백 명을 운동장에 모아.
But they're not believing it at all.
그래서 거기가 어디예요? 그 사람들 죽였다는 데가.
Yeah, he doesn't even know the location.
살인자들이 우리 나가고 싶어요 했더니 살인자들이 그래요 나가세요라고 했.
네, 수백억을 준다고 해서.
Yeah, it's all just too unbelievable. They're not even gonna like write this up and record this. Everyone's distributed in different locations, so it's not like 200 people will all go to the same police station and report it. The number's no good or something then.
예, 아침부터 실례합니다. 뭐 좀 여쭤봐도 되겠습니까?
누구세요?
That just sounds like a regular woman on a personal number.
너 뭐 하는 분이신데 아침부터 전화로 개소리세요?
내 핸드폰에 저번에 걸었던 번호 그대로 남아있거든.
They took his phone before, right? So
지금 가신 번호는 없는 번호입니다.
the number doesn't exist, yeah. They've completely covered their tracks, of course they have.
나왔어요.
Something happened to his mum?
전원이 꺼져 있어 음성 사서으로 연결해요.
Oh, and he's here seeing his mum.
엄마한테 가서 다 말씀드리고 새로 시작해.
Can he actually though?
60억을
6 billion.
내 거 말고 어머니 것까지 다 들어갔어. 집이랑
Oh, okay, so he put a house and shop on collateral. But that means that eventually she has to find out.
예?
Yeah, something happened to the mum.
올해 방치해서 합병증까지 왔어요. 최악의 경우엔 수술로 발을 절단해야 될 수도 있습니다.
Amputate her feet, wow.
치료하면서 경과를 좀 지켜보시죠.
So even more money for him to return and get money to pay for a treatment. I'm guessing you have to pay in South Korea. It's not universal healthcare.
맨날 왜 집에도 안 들어오고 돌아다니다가 이제 나타나가 뭐 효자 행세해.
Yeah, he did just disappear.
내가 그냥 이래 누워 있으면 월세는 누구?
Yeah, she needs to earn the money.
보험? 그거 벌써 해제해가.
Oh, he did.
지금 고시원에 가는 중이에요. 별일 없을 거예요. 형 가끔 그러잖아요. 연락도 잘 안 받고.
So then this guy, he's seen the car, so he'll be a part of this next game then?
제가 내일 직접 실종 신고할게요.
So he was at the police station to report his like brother or someone missing?
차리에요.
Oh, he's a police officer.
찾을게요.
Yeah, we saw him with that other guy, but I didn't think he was, he just wasn't in uniform. Oh, so whoever this is, I don't know if it's like his brother or something, I'm assuming, joined the game and died maybe?
아, 오늘따라 아주 정신없어 죽겠어 아주.
And that's obviously why he can't pay the rent. He's been gone.
왜? 나 아이스크림 먹고 싶다며.
Yeah, they've all got someone there to look after, That's what they need the money.
엄마 금방 데리고 온다며. 나같이 살 거라며.
Yeah, and she has to look after her little brother.
알리. 왜 전화 안 받아요? 전화했어? 몰랐네. 왜? 무슨 일 있어? 사장님, 밀린 월급 주세요.
Oh, he hasn't been paid for his job.
제발요, 돈 주세요. 6달도 더 지났잖아요.
6 months without pay, wow, yeah.
다음에 얘기하자. 내가 좀 바쁘다.
And he does have the money.
나이 새끼야.
Ooh. I could see something bad happening soon, but He's just going to take the money. If he has the money, will he go back into the game? I don't know how much money that was there though.
브로커들을 찾을 방법이 없디. 당한 사람이 너뿐이 아니야. 다시 다른 브로커를 고용해야 돼.
Another broker, so she is North Korean, like a North Korean defector, and that's what she was talking about before. So she's trying to get her parents back from the north.
건너주는 비용도 많이 올랐고.
그래서 얼만데?
4천 이상은 있어야.
40 million won.
중국으로 가는 비용만 그렇고 거기서 다시 남조선으로.
Ooh.
이번에도 네 말만 믿고 돈을 보냈어. 내 목숨 걸고 구한 돈이었어.
Yeah, so she sent all this money and got no results.
한 번 더 나 속이면 다음엔 무조건 네 목부터 딸 거야.
In the last episode, the guy with the snake, did she steal something of him as well? The guy with the snake tattoo, he said she was a North Korean defector, but I wasn't sure if he was just like trying to insult her. But yeah, so she's North Korean and trying to get her parents back.
아니 너 미국 음식 같은 거 입에 잘 안 맞을 텐데.
And she believes he's in America.
거르지 말고 옷 따뜻하게 입고 다녀. 우리 아들 그만 들어가.
You can see how much she loves him and is trying to look after him. So we're seeing all of these people, all of their reasons for them to come back.
머리도 좋은데 인물도 좋네. 결혼을 했어요? 눈이 좀 높아.
실례합니다.
Oh, here we go. The police are here.
경찰서로 자진 출두하라고 좀 전해 주십시오. 계속 도주하시면 나중에 재판에서도 불리해집니다.
The illusion's all coming down. Could this be the police? Do they know where he is, or is this someone else?
누구시죠?
Yeah. They've like given everyone a few days to realize, this episode's called Hell. So it's like the hell is actually the real world, like that lady was saying before. They know how desperate everyone is. I wonder if there will be anyone who isn't back again. Like, will the old man be back, or the guy with the snake tattoo? Will they all be back,
Qu'est-ce qui s'est passé?
Yeah, it's got blood on it, yeah.
पैसे लो और जितना जल्दी हो सके फ्लाइट टिकट बुक करके बच्चे को लेकर घर वापस जाओ।
What up?
Oh, he's got a pregnant wife as well.
मैं अपना काम खत्म करके घर वापस जाऊंगा तुम दोनों के पास।
खाली आपके साथ कुछ गलत हुआ है और आप
Oh no, she just has a son. I didn't see the son there before. He reached out, so I thought he was like reaching for her belly and she was pregnant. But yeah.
300만 좀 어떻게 해줘. 내가 2달 안에 갚을게. 안 되면 여기서 배달이라도 할게.
아 무슨 배달이야 이 양반아. 안에 좀 봐봐. 여기 월세 내기도 힘들어.
Yeah, he can't afford to give him a job.
내가 대리에 배달까지 뛰면 한 달이면 갚을 수 있어.
남의 가게 앞에서 담배 피시면 안 되죠.
So it's a bad image for customers.
자네
Is it the old man?
영감님. 영감님도 이 동네 사세요?
Both live in the same neighborhood. Yeah, they're just eating it dry.
나 다시 가기로 했어.
He's going back, yeah.
죽을 날만 기다리다가 가고 싶지 않아. 거기서 내가
Yeah, he's like, at this age, death is just around the corner, so there's a chance he can win, but if he dies, he doesn't, like, care that much, I guess.
사람들 말이 다 맞더라고. 여기가 더
It's a worse hell out here.
아이 불금만 되면 꼭 그 개진상 새끼들 막 튀어나오는 거.
돈은
Is he like a gang leader, kind of?
근데 지금 회장님께서 형님 찾는다고.
They've got an even higher up. See, he could convince the rest of his like gang to join as well, and then like have this big team of them there, all helping each other out, you know?
네가 화요일까지 애들을 끌어모을 수 있을 만큼 모아놔.
Okay, so
이 새끼들 금고 있는 대로 쳐들어가는 거야.
he's gonna try and break in instead of actually trying to play, but the people running the game will probably be aware that they're coming in with knowledge now, you know?
돈을 돼지저금통에 몇백억씩 쌓아놓고 있는 새끼.
So they're like planning a heist, basically.
근데 필리핀 카지노에서는 얼마를 날리신 거예요? 필리핀 전기빵 하는 애들이 네가 빌린 돈
Okay.
눈깔로 받아간다고 지금 여기까지 왔잖아.
So he's actually on his own.
좋댔어 이 병신 새끼야.
Yeah. What did he expect? We're seeing this guy is completely ruthless, though.
Hi! Welcome to Korea!
You just jump. Okay. But now he has a reason to return.
나한테 위자료를 줬어? 아니면 애들 양육비를 한번 준 적이 있어?
Oh, so he's trying to borrow money.
엄마 병원비 때문에 그래.
돈 없어. 우리 살기도 빠듯해.
They're struggling as well at the moment. Is that why the husband got the job in America? See, everyone's struggling, aren't they?
너 자꾸 왜 근데 그 인간의 애들 아빠야? 가영이 아빠 나야.
뭐? 아빠 뭐?
가영이 봤으니까 나 갈게. 가영아 아빠 갈게. 아빠 또 올게.
Yeah, what did she think? What did she think of all that?
그래서 기다리고 있잖아.
Left his umbrella. She gonna take it out to him?
저기요.
Oh.
우리 가족 앞에 다시는 안 나타나 주셨으면 합니다. 이제 미국으로 떠나야 되는데 자꾸 이런 식으로 부스 나타나시.
Ooh. Yeah, you can't just buy him away or buy him out of seeing his own daughter.
아빠.
And she saw the whole thing. She was bringing down his umbrella.
성규 씨.
Oh, it's the police officer.
떨어져 있길래 그냥 주워서 넣고 다니는 것 뿐이에요.
성규 씨. 도와주십시오.
Hope we find out what happened to my brother. Brother's dead though, probably.
제가 지금 누굴 도울 수 있는 처지가 아니.
And the cards returned. Yeah, they're all returning. I love the shots cutting between them all. I wonder how many will actually return then. This music is great as well, just matching the scene perfectly. Oh, and this is the detective following them. I thought he would try and get in on the games, but of course, are they only collecting people that had played before? But he's got to be careful that he isn't spotted following them, I guess. Oh, she stayed conscious so she can see the location. Was that her? Number 67, was that her? I think that was her. Okay, so that was Squid Game episode 2. I really enjoyed that one. You know, I wanted some more backstory for some of these other characters, and it's exactly what I got. It just wasn't in the way that I was expecting. You know, I definitely wasn't expecting them to all leave and vote to leave. You know, there was this vote happening, and I thought, okay, they'll see how much money it is, and then they'll all vote to stay, or like it'll be close, but it would eventually tip to stay. And then when the old man just hit the, you know, the leave button, I was like, wait, what? There must be something more here, you know? I thought maybe the vote was a trick and they'd kill off the people that voted to leave or something along those lines, but they did just let them go. But they're so confident in the fact that the people need this money that they were just confident that they would return, and that's exactly what's happened. You can see the desperation in all of these people, and it was great just seeing all the other people's backstories, all of their motives as well. It feels much more like an ensemble cast now. The first episode, you need kind of like a blank canvas, someone for the audience to step into their shoes and to be kind of introduced to this world. That's what Sung Ji-hoon was in the first episode, but now it feels much more like an ensemble cast. He's still obviously kind of the main character and the main focus here, but it feels much more like an ensemble cast, you know? With something like The Hunger Games, which is very similar, you know, I'll probably draw a lot of comparisons there. You know Katniss is the main character and you know she's probably going to win. But here, I feel like because they've set up the rest of the cast so well now, or they've set up like these 4 or 5 characters really well, it makes it a bit more ambiguous over who will win. It's not just like, oh, we have a main character, so obviously the main character is going to win. There's a bit more leeway here now, and of course, because we have the backstories for all of these other characters, if they do lose and do die, we have more of an emotional connection to them as well. So this was just a really strong way to do that. It's like what I expected to happen did happen, but it didn't happen in the way I was expecting it. Like I was expecting them to stay and then go on to the next round, but they all left, saw how bad the world was outside, and then came back, which I wasn't expecting at all. And that scene when they're all returning, that was just really great. The cutting between them, just showing them all standing there waiting for the car, and in combination with that music they were playing, that was just really great. So we got our you know, how much money it was, and it comes out to around £30 million. I'm not sure the exact conversions, but I'll put a few up here, so I'm sure anyone's watched the show. Everyone after the episode googled how much it was in their currency just so they could get a grasp in it, you know? Of course, Ji-hung, he went straight to the police, which is like the most logical thing to do, but of course the police, they wouldn't believe you. He just sounds like a drunk crazy guy who's come up with this ridiculous story. But there was that one police officer who had a bit of faith in him, and we see now he is tracking them down, so I wonder what's going to go on with him. He's a really interesting character now. Maybe he will be helping them from the outside, like, oh, he's found out this operation actually exists and it's helping from the outside, or they'll find that he is tracking them and bring him into the game, because I thought he would see this business card, phone it up and join the game like in his brother's place or something, because it's quite obvious that his brother's died, because his brother would have returned home if he had survived, right? So I feel like he's either going to be incorporated into the game somehow, or find a way to maybe stop the game from the outside. I'm not sure if they would go the route that, you know, the games will be interrupted towards the end or something like that. That is like a trope we see sometimes in like tournament arcs in anime and stuff. Sometimes they get interrupted. So I'm wondering if that would happen, or if they'll just like let the games play out in their whole. I feel like it's more interesting to let the games play out in their whole, especially when there's so much on the line here. It makes it more interesting. You don't want the stakes to be cut like that, you know? You want the stakes to be constantly rising and rising. You don't want the tension to break. So we have a few backstories now. You know, it seems like everyone, they all have someone they care about and they all have someone to look after now, don't they? So number 67, I don't think I've got her name yet, but she is a North Korean defector who has a younger brother, and her parents are still in North Korea, and she needs the money to be able to buy a broker, which I'm guessing is the code name for like someone who will help smuggle them out, right? So her and her brother obviously managed to escape, and then she needs the money to help her parents escape as well. But as we've seen, she's already paid for that once, and then I'm guessing the operation didn't work. You know, some people, they'd just take the money and run, I guess. So that's probably what happened, and now she spent all that money and with no results and needs to go through that whole process again. Then there's Duk-soo, who's the guy with the snake tattoo, and he has like a bit of a background with her, but his money is all tied up in this gambling that he did in the Philippines, and these people from the Philippines actually came over to get him, so he must have gambled away a lot of money and owe a lot of money, and he's obviously involved in a lot of organized crime. They were building up that he was like planning a heist, so I thought that maybe he'd get like people from his gang to come and join the game games, and then they can be like a little in-group during the game, all work together and try and advance. But I think, you know, there's probably only going to be one winner, right? So I don't think teaming up is a good idea at the start, but that's always going to break down later on the game when people get greedy, you know? But I think he wanted to plan a bit more of like a heist, just get in there, gun down all of the guards and take the money. And we did see with 67 that she had, I think it was her at the end, who had covered her mouth and was still alive. So I'm wondering, is she going to kill the guards driving or just keep track of where they're actually driving? Try and remember the location, remember some landmarks along the way, remember the location so she can then return later or something along those lines. You know, if you're being kidnapped, it's a good idea just to try and remember as much as you can about the scenario around you, right? And then Sung-woo, who is like childhood friends with Ji-hun, he has like got all of this money that he's been laundering, or like it was like fraudulent money, right? And then he needs this money, he needs it to be able to look after his mum, because he basically put his mum's shop on the line, invested his mum's shop basically, and then she has this like grand image of him as this successful businessman who's off in America making a ton of money, but in reality he's a bit of a failure, and he's betrayed her a bit by putting her shop and her house on the line, you know? But that illusion is starting to break down, because obviously the police come to her and say, next time you see him, tell him to turn himself in so this won't be as bad. But I'm wondering like his motive there, like if he wins, is he going to use the money to pay back everything, or would he use the money for like a legal team? I guess use their money for a legal team, get as little of a fine as possible, and then use the money to pay that fine, you know, and return the money to all the people that he owes. You know, we saw that there were 201 survivors of the first game, and they obviously voted to leave. I'm wondering how many will actually return. Will it be the same amount? Will there be new people introduced that we didn't see in the first one? Or there must be a few people that didn't actually return that do actually value their lives that much. But I do think the premise of this episode was really great, showing how the outside world is hell and how badly it treats all of these poor people. You know, Ji-hun, he was saying, you know, I'll do what I need to do, I'll get 2 jobs, but people shouldn't have to have 2 jobs just to get by, just to survive. So I'm really loving all of the socioeconomic commentary here. It's all just a big play on the class divide, isn't it? But this episode just works really well at showing how the money affects everyone. Even Ji-hun's ex-wife, she said she was struggling for money, even though her and her husband have this like face of wealth and they look like everything's going well, but they are struggling for money. But the husband did actually offer to give him some money, but it was basically a bribe saying you don't come back and see your family. And of course he couldn't accept that. No amount of money would get you to stop going to visit your daughter if you loved her that much, you know. And of course he needs even more money now to pay for his mum's surgery and all of her treatment. So there's just like levels on top and on top of things. This episode, it shows a bit how there's almost like a poverty tax, you know. If you can't pay for something in the moment, then later on there's even more consequences and you have to pay even more. I'm not like 100% aware about the exact circumstances with the mum, but like if she couldn't afford treatment before, then she held off on getting treatment, then her condition worsened, which we've seen is really bad with her feet. Her feet might need to be amputated. We see her condition got even worse, and then she has to pay even more later down the line, you know. So it's like poverty charges interest in a way, you know. And then with Ali, we see that he has a wife and a kid, or a girlfriend and a kid, and he needs to look after him, but he's stuck in this really tricky situation where he's obviously immigrated here, was looking for a job, looking for more opportunity, and then was taken advantage of. We see this businessman, it looked like some of the other people working in that factory were also South Asian. I don't know if this is like a problem in Korea, if they're trying to like make a commentary on something, but he's like taking advantage, this business owner was taking advantage of all of these immigrants, all of these South Asians. He was like taking advantage of them, not paying them. I don't know if they had immigrated legally or illegally, because if they immigrated illegally, it makes it even worse because they don't have like the proper documentation to do the necessary steps, right? Like they can't go to the police, because if they go to the police will be like, oh, you immigrated here illegally, so we're just going to send you back home, you know, we can't get you the money that you're owed for this job if it was all under the table. So he's stuck in a real sticky situation here, here where he hasn't been paid for like 6 months. And then when he was getting in the fight with the boss, I was like, oh, I feel like something's going to happen here. Like he's going to push him. But it was just really gruesome when his hand went and we just see it getting crushed. I don't know why that got me. Like, last episode we've seen this, there is gore, people getting shot, but that really just got me seeing his hand get crushed under there. I thought he was just gonna like push him and it'd fall, hit his head, or like hit a piece of machinery, but that was really gruesome. But it seems like the boss did actually survive that as well. So yeah, we just see all of these people at their worst. We're seeing exactly why they are going into this game. It was actually just a great way to build some of the backstory for these characters without having to have like flashbacks while they're in playing the game, you know? I feel like this could have been a first episode. This would have made a good first episode if the first episode was a bit longer. Like, this creates like an ensemble cast for us so we see where everyone's at. But of course, I feel like it would be a bit boring the first episode just being all of this build up and not actually seeing any of them in the game. So I really like the structure they went with here, and it was really unexpected. It gives this like glimmer of hope to the cast and to the audience, doesn't it? This is obviously focusing a lot on South Korea and sort of commentary on South Korean culture, but I think there's a lot of things that can apply elsewhere as well. You know, no one should have to work 2 jobs just to get by. You know, if you want to work 2 jobs to have more luxurious things, then sure, whatever. But the fact that people need to work 2 jobs just to survive, just to put money on the table, just to put bread on the table, it highlights this real failure as a society. This show is just touching on so many things, you know, the side of the immigration with Ali, there's all of the stuff having to work 2 jobs, there's the North Korean side, all the defectors and how that affects the South Korean society as well. I'm not like super well versed in all of these problems in South Korea, so some of this is probably going over my head, but it's a cool insight to see some of these problems that Korea has as well. And I think just in general, from the Korean media that I've seen, they do a really good job of highlighting these kind of problems, and I think they do it better than some of us in the West as well. So I think that's everything. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, consider leaving a like or a comment. If you really loved it, be sure to subscribe so you can keep up to date from the next videos. And if you're interested, check out the Patreon where you can get early access to the next 2 episodes right now. So yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.